something that I am just not, I won't say desperate, but yearning to participate in, because I want to do, so I've got these bucket list things I want to do. I want to do the Baja 1000. I want to do Pikes Peak. So we've got some things in the SCCA that could lead me to both of those things. See where I'm going with this?
Absolutely.
Welcome to this episode of Inside the SCCA. I'm Brian Bielanski, and just a little weirdness with this episode. Weird in a really great way, by the way. This is Heyward Wagner from SCCA. He is the vice president of experiential programs. That includes road rally, hill climb, track night, time trial, solo. I'm guessing I'm missing something. Oh, Targa in there. We had so much to talk about that our show went probably about 90 minutes. And that's that we don't do 90-minute episodes. We never have. And actually, we're cutting back the time length of the episodes. But the content was so good, I don't want to just cut it off at 30 minutes and be done, because we would be missing out on all these great things. So we got 3 episodes coming, maybe not 3 consecutive weeks, but there will be 3 episodes with Heyward. The first one coming out is going to be about road rally and hill climb. That's this episode today. And then we've got 2 more episodes coming out in the next week or 2, definitely, maybe 3 weeks. And we may sneak in an episode on something else in the middle, but whatever the case may be, it's going to be a 3-episode run with Heyward here. Let's get to episode 1, and I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to episode 240-something of Inside the SCCA. I'm Brian Bielanski, and got a great show ahead for you this week. A guy who's been on the show, multiple times. I've lost track, Heyward. You were episode number 2, I believe, if my old man brain works out. And I came to you early on. We'll have this fun conversation real quick. And I said, "Hey, Heyward, I'm going to do this thing, and I'd love to have like somewhat of a blessing to do it. And I'm going to do it with or without your blessing." The only question is whether or not I'm going to have a particular 4 letters in the name of my show. And here's what I want to do. And I told you about Inside the SCCA, and you were 100% all in right from the start. I think you may have had to twist some arms on your end to get me my final blessing, but other than that, there was no issues. When I came to you 4 years ago now, it was October of 2020. Because I was laid off in June of 2020. And the reason I never did this before that is because I worked for CBS, and I was afraid I was going to get fired by doing my own podcast. And then when they told me to pound sand, I said, F you, I'm going to go do my podcast. So it was October of probably September of 2020 I came to you. When I came to you, what was your first thought?
I don't even know what my first thought was this morning, and you want me to channel one from 21 or 20? I think that I'm a really big believer in being in as many of the media circles as you can be as an organization. I think that podcasts are a great tool to get messages out. We had a lot of success in the early days of track night, and we did a lot of stuff with Slip Angle and 10 Tenths and other podcasts to kind of get the word out. And the reality is, and we're kind of chatting a little bit in pre-show, SCCA is often a complicated beast. There's a lot of policies, a lot of procedure, a lot of history, a lot of this is how we do things, change is hard, blah, 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 blah. And I think that just the idea that we might have somebody to kind of help Sherpa us through the muck and help people better understand how decisions get made and better understand the personalities involved and what we do here and all of that. And, obviously we've got lots of tools to do that with, but sometimes having it conversationally is just the most effective way to do it. And so I was really excited to have that someone was interested in doing that. But I think the thing that really excited me the most about it was the idea that it would be third party.
Yeah.
And that it wouldn't be the SCCA according to SCCA, and I knew you well enough to trust you that you wouldn't do anything that would be nefarious or hard for us to explain to our lawyers. But that you would ask us hard questions, and that you would, voice your frustrations or voice the things that didn't feel right and give us a chance to talk about them. And I've always enjoyed coming on the show because you've asked real questions and we've had real conversations, and it's not a fluff piece. So it's a really good relationship.
Yeah. It's funny. We do have a promo. I work for the all news station here in LA, and we have a promo for one of our shows. LA is a messy, complicated, messy place, or a crazy, messy place. And that would be a good way to describe the SCCA in a lot of ways. Not always.
At times, yeah.
Yeah, not always perfect, or rarely perfect. Sometimes there's moments. Trying to please 70,000 people is impossible, as I have learned I can't even please the 100 people that watch my show. So it's crazy. And the fact that, I'm not this show in particular now. In full disclosure, I do the Super Tour broadcasts, and I may get asked back to do them again next year. I am always, this time of year, I'm like, are they going to ask me back? But so I do get paid by the club to do those shows. I've never been paid a penny by the SCCA for anything that happens on Inside the SCCA. And I've never been told not to do a show. I've never been told how to do a show. You guys make suggestions on who I should do shows with all the time, and I appreciate that because I love that. And all of that is cool. But I don't get any direction on the show, and I've never been denied a guest request. Sometimes it's taken a little while for you guys to get someone to me, but it's been a really good relationship. But I'm not afraid to ask tough questions because I've never been told not to. I've never been shunned by the club when I've asked tough questions. And I'm a cheerleader for the club in 95% of my shows. And that's what I always wanted the show to be. I can't always be, and you know that. And we've had these discussions both in person and on and off camera. But this show is a showcase for the best of what the SCCA is, and on occasion we have to talk about the not so best. And I really appreciate the relationship we've had. So, and I hope that it continues to go. We're coming up on episode 250. Your boss is going to be on episode 250 or somewhere around 250. Sometimes it ends up being 51 or 52 because of scheduling. But anyway, he's come on every 50 episodes since episode number 50, and I've appreciated that. And he has promised me again, and I have no doubt that he will come on again. You are in charge of everything in the club competition-wise that isn't road racing. Am I right?
Well, I think that makes a big assertion that finance and IT aren't competition areas.
Okay.
Which I'm not sure that that's but essentially, yes.
Yeah.
The way that I think of it is, and in charge is not the terminology that,
lead the team
that I would use. I lead the team on the staff side for Rallies, Solo, and Experiential programs. And
right.
To me, the easiest way to think of that is you can do almost anything in the club with the race car.
Right.
You can autocross a race car. You can time trial a race car. But what makes these programs unique and different is they're really kind of street car first programs.
Yeah.
Track night, time trials, solo, rally cross, road rally. All of these are the programs that, generally speaking, the majority of the cars, particularly at the regional level, driven to the event, have license plates. And so it's really the access side of the club.
Right.
The road racing side is a tremendously rich tradition and has incredible competition, incredible events, but takes tremendous more investment of time, money, effort to kind of get to the basic participation side. And the difference that I see is that on the Rally Solo Experiential side, generally speaking, you can do these things with a car you already have.
Right.
And I think that's really the differentiator.
I've worked real hard on the show, doing 50 plus episodes a year, to spread the love. And I don't have the data because, frankly, I don't care enough about the data to crunch the numbers. But I'd like to think I come up pretty close to 50% road racing, 50% everything else. I'm going to ask this question, and hopefully you have the answer. And if not, maybe you can tell me or find it for me. When we look at what people do in the SCCA, of our 65,000, give or take, depending on the month members, what percentage of our members are road racing primarily, and what percentage do everything else?
It is not as perfect to track as we would like for it to be. And when you have my boss on the episode coming up, you can talk to him all about our data tracking and whatnot. But in general, speaking just in broad generalization,
right?
We know that there's about 7,000 or 8,000 people that have road racing competition licenses. There's another, I'm going to take a shot in the dark. I may get this completely wrong, but I think there's probably another 4,000 to 5,000 or so that hold some sort of a racing official's license, yep. FNC, stewarding, timing and scoring, whatever the case may be. So I think roughly we say that population, all in, crew, family, friends, probably a 15,000 person population involved in our road racing program.
Okay.
Our autocross program, where we are, and road racing is a lot easier to track because of licensing, and I'm already getting into the weeds and the boring stuff. So
that's all right.
Hurry me along. We think that we have about 75. I'll back up. Our best guess is about 25,000 people, unique individuals that are autocrossing with us each year. That includes weekend members, full members, and then track night probably sees somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000 unique participations a year. Time trials is approaching that, which we're really proud of. We're seeing a really big growth in the time trials program at the regional level, which is really, really important. Rallycross, I want to say the last time that we really kind of crunched the numbers was kind of in that same area, maybe a little bit higher than time trials yet. And then Road Rally is the next to smallest. We got a couple of thousand involved in Road Rally each year. And then the small but mighty program, Hill Climb. Last time I ran the numbers was about 600 or 700 people involved in that program. So, so percentage wise, rough guess, I would say a quarter of the club, give or take. And what's super hard to track in this oftentimes is that our flaggers autocross and our autocrossers hill climb, and but I would say in rough numbers, about a quarter of the club probably autocross or is involved in road race. About half is involved in solo, and then the other programs make up the balance of that. So
what you're telling me is I need to do some more solo podcasts.
I mean, I think. I mean, certainly, yes, we would welcome it. We would love it. Yeah. And I love solo. And if I'm going to drive something just for grins, autocross is almost certainly what I trend to. I enjoy driving on track, but I enjoy the rapid fire, the pace of autocross a lot. I really do. Right. And it's not nearly as compelling a story as wheel-to-wheel racing is. Yeah. The number of people that show up for qualifying versus the race for Formula One is exponentially larger for the second. And it makes sense that's the more engaging thing to talk about. But yeah, for sure, we could do more. We've got some more content for you. So just let us know.
Of course, my background is mostly road racing, and so my Rolodex, I'm going to use an old school terminology, of contacts and is more on the road race side. My knowledge is more on the road race side. It's as I've proven at the couple of solo nationals I've gone to. So that's probably where my how I've trended in that direction. But I have worked kind of hard to try to get a little bit of love to everybody throughout the 4 years, and I think I've done an okay job with that. We can always do more and focus. It's also seasonal too. It used to be when the Super Tour was over, that month of July, August is really solo heavy for me. I try to smash in as much as I can to get people revved up about going to solo nationals. I haven't done as much with time trials and road rally as I would like to, so that's going to be a focus going forward for me. And this whole Targa thing has got me way intrigued. I'm looking forward to spending more time on that. And another thing that I think is going to maybe start to inform my show choices going forward is, and we talked about this briefly at the Runoffs. While under the influence of an adult beverage or two, have been challenged to do something super nutty, and that is to attempt to qualify and run every SCCA National Championship event in the same year, in the same car. And then we took it to another level.
How hard could it be?
How hard can it be? Yeah. You know what? As I have thought about this and done some, back of the napkin calculations, the hard part is just the schedule of it all. Once you determine the car and how you're going to do it, and the cost, obviously there's that. But I mean, I think the hardest part of this whole thing is finding an employer who will allow you to get 8 weeks off in a row to essentially go do these 5 events. And that's how I'm going to become self-employed. We're going to make this YouTube channel so I can go full-time YouTube. And that's how we're going to do it. Yes, from my mouth to God's ears. I mean, from a staff standpoint, I have yet to have a year where I made it to all of them. Yeah. I keep saying that I'm going to. It's pretty brutal on the marketing team. I'm not going to lie. For those of us on the program side, even on the RSE side, where we have Solo Nationals, Time Trials Nationals, Rallycross Nationals, and USRRC, we're pretty well able to diversify staffing for those. But the marketing team, generally speaking, a couple of those folks end up going to all of them. And with an employer sending you there, never mind having to take time off. Right. And it's a pretty brutal run. It's funny. You're pretty prolific on the social media, and after all of that, running around to all those nationals, you then took the time to jump on the road and be a good dad and take your kid to New York City, and that was a whole nother drama. But another drama, yeah. Yeah, but it's funny. After all of the travel that we all do for this sport, to then have enough time to spend for our families is tough. So I commend you on that, and I try to do it myself. Well, the sales pitch that I offer everybody who's considering coming to work for the club is that if you love being at events, if you love going to the Runoffs, if you love going to Solo Nationals, if you love going to Time Trials Nationals, whatever it is, like, it's a hard job. All the jobs in the office are hard. But if you really love it, the fact that you get to go do those events without burning a single second of PTO and then being able to come back off of them and take a beat. And I was able to have a really great trip with my daughter to celebrate her birthday. And in previous iterations of life where I would have used all of my vacation time to go do those things and then trying to get back into the grind of work, I don't envy the folks that do this in that manner. Yeah. And I'm very mindful when we're talking about event execution and design and how we're doing things, that the people that are supporting these events, this is how they're choosing to use their vacation. This is purely an elective for them. Right. And we talk a lot about the notion of these activities as both competition and recreation for that reason. If it's not fun, if it's not worth your time, there are certainly other things you can do with that time. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword of mindfulness of I'm very appreciative that I get to do these events and then go take a little vacation. And also we need to deliver these events in a way that at least in part feel like a vacation. I don't know how people think they're on vacation when they're course walking at 6 a.m., but I'm not going to judge. It's funny. I'm very lucky. I work in radio, and so radio stations are used to having their announcers go away to do things like be a play-by-play announcer for their baseball team or that kind of stuff. So they're used to that thing. So when I came to them, my agreement with my wife was that when I took the Super Tour on, and I'm fortunate being in the union, and I've been with my place long enough, I've got lots of vacation, but I don't have enough to do all this. And I was fortunate to be able to go to my boss and say, "Listen, I need some more time off." And the first look on her face was, I'm not giving you any more vacation, Brian. I'm like, no, I need unpaid time off. And she looked at me and kind of gave me this quizzical thing and goes, well, now there's an interesting proposition. And we worked it out. So, because my agreement with Leslie was you have to have 1 week of vacation for the family. You can use all the rest of your vacation to go racing, but I want 1 week with you to go and do something with the family. And I'm like, that's fair. 100% fair. And I've been able to stick to that. So this discussion has gotten me to the last question of the show, which I'm not going to ask you right now, but I do know what it is now. So now there's a deep tease for you people. All right, let's get into some of the nuts and bolts here. Let's just go program by program. I think that's probably the easiest way to go. And let's go in reverse order of participation. So let's start with hill climb, something that I am just not, I won't say desperate, but yearning to participate in because I want to do. So I've got these bucket list things I want to do. I want to do the Baja 1000. I want to do Pikes Peak. So we've got some things in the SCCA that could lead me to both of those things. See where I'm going with this?
Absolutely.
I'm molding it all together.
For sure.
And so I really want to come out and play at a hill climb in the next year or two, just to get my feet wet, because I really want to do Pikes Peak someday. What's the dealio with how SCCA is doing in the hill climb area?
Well, for the first time tonight, and I'm sure there'll be more, let me say this could be its own show. And
we'll do a whole show. We'll do a whole show.
Yeah. I'm really into the hill climb program. It's what I grew up around. It is, I'll spare you the pitch. The dealio is we have essentially 2 programs.
Okay.
One in the Southeast, which I'm heavily involved in, called the Appalachian Hill Climb Series, and one in Pennsylvania, which I love to get to whenever I can. And they run relatively similar rule sets at this point in time. There's a fair bit of crossover between them. I can tell you in a full episode format, I can tell you the story of the years of rivalry and the years of friendship and how we've all come together. But both programs are phenomenal experiences in my opinion. And I think what really makes them cool is there's just such a unique culture around these programs. The Pennsylvania program is kind of, I might get my geography wrong, but I'm going to call it kind of a Rust Belt area. You've got a lot of industry. You've got a lot of folks that are, work with their hands kind of folks that build their own cars, do their own thing. You come into these towns. I think we're like something ridiculous, like 120 times at Giants Despair now. And it just drips with history and reverence and cool. And you go up there and you see this infrastructure of cars and equipment and things that you just feel that this has been happening forever. And it's super cool. And the Southern Series is just this kind of budding teenager series, and it goes to a lot of coal affected areas in Kentucky and Western Virginia, where economy is not great and people really at times are struggling. And we're able to go into those areas and go visit schools and talk to kids about staying in school. And
Nice.
if you want to do cool things with cars, that staying in school and getting a good job is a good way to do that. And we have the football team and the tennis team come out on Thursday and help us set up water barriers and banners and stuff. And so it's super integrated into the area. And that to me is kind of the pitch. The pitch is that when we have Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta last weekend, and you have transporters with all these exotic cars coming into Road Atlanta, I don't know that a lot of people in Braselton, Georgia, pick their heads up and go, "Oh, I wonder what's going on at Road Atlanta." They go, "Yep, race cars at Road Atlanta." That happens all the time. But you start driving some ground pounding stock car V8 muscle stuff down a 5-lane highway in Pineville, Kentucky, and park everything on town square with some bounce houses and barbecue trucks, and you get a really, really different response to that. And
Nice.
You get people asking really great questions and wanting to be a part of it all. I think about half of our course marshal team now is local to the area. They're folks who found us and have signed up and started doing it and building community around it. And so, yeah, it's just a really special thing. So
Cool.
we should do a whole show on it, and
We
I'm not
will.
going to take any more of the show on that one, but it's a really great program.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. There's some programs out
I'll
here
say,
too.
I'll say one other thing about it. Hill climb, more than any other program that I'm involved with, takes SCCA to new places.
Mm-hmm.
And that might sound trite, but we had the president of the state senate of Kentucky observing our street autocross at the Manchester Hill Climb Shamrock Mountain this last weekend. And when we're talking about something else we could do another show on, an era of motorsports where venues are becoming harder and harder to find.
Yeah.
And the tracks that are being built for the ultra wealthy to be members of. They're not being built for club racing. They're being built for, country club membership type things. When you can show real economic impact and you can show, I don't know if your social media blew up like mine did, but there was a pretty unfortunate series of events in Gatlinburg, Tennessee a few weeks ago around a car show that got out of hand. When you can show that SCCA shows up with maturity and shows up with funding and all of these things, and then you get a state that's looking for ways to develop it economically, we become very valuable to them very quickly. And so I think that probably the greatest asset that Hill Climb has for us is that we can take this to places that there aren't racetracks, there aren't autocross sites, there are no venues,
right?
And then start showing the value of the club and how venues can benefit the community.
Nice. Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of ideas along those lines that I find interesting that we can dig into at another show. So, all right, next up on the order of popularity or participation, not popularity, because all of these programs are wildly popular with the people that do them, wildly passionate by the people who do them, even if the participation might be relatively small compared to some of the other stuff we do. So I hesitate to use the word popularity because everybody loves what they do and they fight for as much of it as possible. So next in order of participation, I guess, would be Road Rally, right?
Yep. And having, you referenced the trip already, so having just had the opportunity to see Wicked on Broadway.
Yes.
Popular is now pronounced in my head completely differently than it was before. That's the one. So
I'm a theater. My kid's a theater kid, so I know all about it.
I'm super proud of what's happening in our Road Rally program right now, and it might not feel like a big measurable change at the moment, but the Road Rally board and leaders in the program have this last USRC, United States Road Rally Challenge, did things a little differently. And basically, I'll not get the terminology right, and I apologize for that, but basically they had 2 days of hardcore, serious road rally, and then they had a day of fun road rally. And they got more people engaged and involved in the event than we've had in many years past. And I think that's a really great test for them. It's a great opportunity for them to see what happens when you do things differently. Do we get more people involved? Do the people that have been involved for a long time become disenfranchised? How does that whole balance play out? How does that work? And that's not even really the cool part. The cool part is that Jim Crittenden, who's a well-established past Road Rally board member and kind of serves as an advisor to staff for Road Rally, is working on this concept called the Colorado Adventure Rally, which is a 3-day almost luxury rally experience in Colorado. All the lodging is top-notch, great restaurants involved. It is very much intended to be a gravel roads, compromised roads, but seeing the real adventure side of Colorado, and have some really fun side trips. And I won't do it justice here. Again, could be its own show. But the idea is, and I think it is an all-inclusive price tag of about $1,500. That's your rally, that's your lodging, that's your food, that's the whole shooting match for you and a friend. Expenses for both. So why is that important? The USRC traditionally has gone to a region that is well equipped to put it on. And if that region happens to be in Cleveland, like it was this year, or in St. Louis or Milwaukee or wherever it may be, that's where USRRC is. And that has served us well in serving kind of the uber engaged population of rallyists. But I bet if you asked most SCCA members what road rally USRRC they were most desirous of going to, I bet most of them will say that year they did it in Alaska. It photographed amazing. It looked amazing. Everybody, thought it was super cool. And I am not saying that you can't have a great road rally experience in Cleveland or Milwaukee or St. Louis or Dallas or wherever it may be. But when you start thinking about, I want to go drive great roads, it's tougher to sell that in a city center than it is when it's the Colorado Adventure Rally or Southern Utah or Blue Ridge Mountains or whatever it may be. And so I'm really, really proud of the Road Rally program right now for exploring the idea of kind of this destination rally with Jim in 26, see what kind of a take we can get. And I'm very hopeful that we can start to transition USRRC into a little bit more of a destination-based event. I'm not going to put any plugs in, but I live 5 minutes from the Blue Ridge Parkway. So if anybody needs me to go test some roads, I'm right here. But I think, I think that's really important because if you look at all of our other championship level events, there is a trickle down effect of how do they do it at nationals? How do they do it at the runoffs? That's how we should do it here. And the more that I think the road rally program can become about destination, places people want to go, roads they want to drive, things they want to do, and that can trickle down. I think we can have a real resurgence. And I'm really excited about everything going on around that program right now.
It's funny you say that. When I was living in New York City, I had thought that a something similar where every night you're in New York City with dinner in a theater built into that process would be a great way to do road rally and maybe get spouses involved and interested in doing it because there's some other stuff there. And then maybe make one of those days where the spouses get to go shopping, if that's their thing, and just, the more hardcore rallyists go do a rally on one of those days. I mean, there's so many ways to do that kind of stuff. And thinking in different ways is really key to, I think, what the future of all motorsports is. So that's awesome.
Indeed.
So, and the other thing with road rally, and we talk about this on the show a couple times, it's the first thing you can take your kid to do. Yes. And we did, Alex and I did a road rally a couple of years ago, and they keep bugging me to do another one. And when I do this whole project we were just talking about earlier, they're going to be my co-driver for the road rally portion of that. But they want to go do it again. They keep telling me, and we've got this cool thing out here, and every region's got their thing. You know what I mean? Every part of the country has a thing. Santa Monica region, Santa Monica Sports Car Club is affiliated with Cal Club, but they're two different clubs, but they're an SCCA club, and they're road rally only. That's their only thing, and they do a first Friday night road rally every first Friday of the month through the Santa Monica Mountains, and it's an evening road rally. It starts in the daylight, depending on the time of the year. You finish in the dark, and the only bad part about it is that you're in such beautiful country, but you're doing it in the dark, that you don't get to see a lot of what you're going to see as far as that goes. But yeah, even as I encourage all of our programs to try other programs, I really encourage people to do road rallies. It's a great low-cost way to go have fun with cars, and I love it. I just love it. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to your point, it's a great way to involve somebody who might not be interested in doing other things more, I would say more high-end competition or, adrenaline charged things. Right. And not that road rally can't be those things, but it's very accessible. It's very easy to bring somebody along with you.
Absolutely. Let me just take 1 second and thank people that helped me do the show. Of course, David R. Paterick and Associates, or William R. Paterick and Associates, David Paterick, one of our GT1 and now Spec MX5 drivers. If you need help managing your money, which I know anybody who races cars probably would love to have more money. So he's really smart with that stuff and a great guy and a supporter of the show. So thanks to him, of course. We've got Ray Esports, the unofficial sim Racing League of the SCCA, but the official Sim Racing League of Inside the SCCA. We'd love to have him involved with what we do here. Solo Performance Specialties, Dave and his family, who are at most of the Solo Nationals and, of course, Solo Nats. If you need anything for your solo car and autocross, and maybe even he's got some stuff that would work on the road racing side. I just bought a great pair of shoes from him. So I got Fat Feet, any place that sell fat foot driving shoes. Thank you, Solar Performance Specialties, for that as well. Babyface Fabrication, they are involved with our tech tip. We didn't do a tech tip during this show. Let me think if there's anything that we talked about that could be a tech tip, and I'll just make it happen. But yeah, Babyface Fabrication, they're a sponsor of our tech tips. Love having them as part of what we do here as well. And I don't think, Porterfield Racing Brakes. They have been a longtime supporter of the Cal Club events as well as here on Inside the SCCA. So a big thank you to them. So those are the folks that helped me do this, and I like to thank them as often and as loudly as possible. All right, last thing here. Do you have any final thank yous that you want to throw out there before we say goodbye?
I just really appreciate the time that you make for us and support that you give us. I have to always thank the folks at Tire Rack who make literally everything we do possible as an organization. And then, of course, the officials, Hawk, Haggerty, and Sunoco. October 20th. So we're fully into prepping for PRI season and getting ready to go see all those folks. And that's always a great time of year for us. So looking forward to seeing all the partners and whatnot. So those will be my thank yous for this evening.
Very cool. Very cool. And I will thank you for taking the time. I told you we'd take an hour and 15 minutes. We just crossed an hour 45. So this will be definitely 2 shows, probably 3. It's all good. I love it. It's always great. And again, from show number 2 to show number 240 something, you've been on several times, and I suspect you'll be on again. I'm going to go back and take notes for all the things that you said this could be its own show, and we're going to do its own show on all of those things. I promise you all that. And I look forward to clinking glasses the next time we get to be in person together. So that's going to do it for this episode of Inside the SCCA. I'm Brian Bielanski. I hope you enjoyed the show. 2 more episodes coming up in the next few weeks with Heyward. The next one is going to cover time trial, Targa, and rallycross. 3 things that I have not done yet, but I'm hoping to at some point in time. And then our 3rd episode will cover track night and autocross solo 2, and all of that part of the SCCA. So again, hope you enjoyed the show. Big thanks to Heyward for being on it, and we will have more from him in the coming weeks. If you like what you saw, if you like what you heard, please subscribe and like and all of that fun stuff. And we, as always, we'll be back next week. I'm Brian Bielanski. This is Inside the SCCA. Have a good time, stay safe, and go play with cars.